All right. Good evening, everybody. If we can start making our way to our seats, we will get started with the regular session.
Hey, Hankins.
All right. I've got 18:05, a little late getting started, but we will get the show on the road. So I will convene us into our regular session this evening. Good evening, everyone. Council, just a quick reminder again. We've been messaged about residents' inability to hear what we're saying, so please, the usual, talk into the microphone, get up warm and cozy, make it your friend, all that good stuff. So, okay. Roxanne, can you hear us okay? And
I can hear you well.
Okay, so call to order. So I'm going to ask Roxanne, who is joining us via teleconference, if everybody would stand, we'll take care of the invocation, Pledge of Allegiances. Roxanne, would you lead us, please?
All right, do you want me to pray?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's pray. Dear God, I just pray that you will bless this meeting, bless the discussions and the decisions that have to be made. Father, I pray that you will bless this city and bless every resident and person in here who loves and works for the city. We pray here that you will give us wisdom and that we will be reasonable and listen to each other and to learn well. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll follow Roxanne.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to one nation, one and indivisible.
Okay, so maybe the remote sing-along was not a good idea. Okay, apologies. Okay, citizen comments on agenda items. So I have the sign-up sheet. It's blank. Okay. Donna. No, that's, it was on the other one, but that's okay. We have the other one as well. So, and go. You're good. You're good. Yeah. Oh, let me read. I'm sorry. I got to read my. I got to do this. It's the only thing I can do.
Go ahead.
It's an opportunity for members of the public to suggest addition of topics for discussion or to address topics of interest with a presentation limited to 3 minutes. All speakers please conduct themselves in an orderly and lawful manner. All speakers will be recognized prior to speaking and will announce their name and address to be included in the minutes. State law prohibits the mayor and members of city council from commenting on any statement or engaging in dialogue without an appropriate agenda item being posted in accordance with the Texas open meeting laws. Thank you, ma'am.
Go. Donna Hartman, 112 Great West Loop. Council, I want to thank you again and to the staff for the hard work they did on completing the budgets and our third audit, which I'm so excited about. I know you've had challenges that you faced. I hope now we can move forward to the next audit and the projects in the budget, and that the ones that we supported in the budget, we go ahead and move forward. It's time to move on. Also, I would like to see that we get those staff positions filled. It's been 2 months and the staff is overwhelmed. They really need some help. I want to address the culture of our city. I have a few concerns. It mainly stems from communication. I know our building official is new to our city, and my suggestion would be that there are staff meetings, so staff members that are new, staff members that have been here a while can share what's going on in the city, upcoming things, projects they have, and then everybody can be on board with what's happening in the city. I got upset for our citizens that this community-wide garage sale that they've had for 5 years, their signs were taken up and thrown in the trash can. I know it's the law. I know you can't put signs in right away. I know this because of political signs. Our citizens don't know this. No one can know all the laws. I don't know all the laws in the state of Texas, do you? I don't think so. So my suggestion would be, we're not a gotcha city. Oh, we got you. You violated law. We got you. We are a help you city. Can I help you? Can I educate you on what's the law? How about a post on social media if they know the event's coming up, which it's lack of communication that this event was coming up, putting on social media a reminder. You can't put signs in the right-of-way, please put them on your own personal property, or maybe perhaps getting in touch with the coordinator who they could pass that on to the coordinator could pass it on. I'm just saying we need more communication, and we need more of our traditions valued in this city, and we need to be careful how we enforce things. Through no action of the city council, although I feel very strong that the council needs to, changes that we make to the city, they know the heart and tradition of our city, and they also are the voice of our community, need to be called in to different changes in our city. This year, after 50 years of traditionally and proudly being a sponsor of the Boy Scouts of America, Troop 118 suddenly was discontinued. These young boys helped with city events. They did Eagle Scout projects. They led us in the invocation, and they led us into our Pledge of Allegiance. We watched these men over the years. This is 50 years of this tradition. We've watched them grow into young men. It was this city's honor and privilege to sponsor this group, and it breaks my heart that this 50-year tradition was disbanded. We are a city that is steeped in volunteerism and tradition, and I ask that you please do everything that you can to keep this going. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, council, this is a little off script. It is for you. It is for our residents, both live and phoning in. So I did receive two items that were requested to be read in to the record during public comment. After discussion with our city attorney, I was informed that although we have done that in the past, and I believe I actually was, when I was sitting over there, was one of the first ones who, for whatever reason, took that upon myself to make that a thing. Apparently that is incorrect. We should not be doing that. So, so moving forward, starting this evening.
Ask a question. Is that a law, or is that like a governance practice that we can establish as a city? That's what I thought.
All right. If someone can't be here, you don't have the ability to see them in person. You don't have the ability to see their mannerisms, to hear their reflection in what they're saying. And it doesn't seem to me to be fair to others who were here that afford you that opportunity. I don't see anything wrong at all with if someone writes in and wants to make a public comment, to putting that in your packet so that you have it. But my personal opinion is that is not that's not fair to other people and fair to the council to not have them here to be able to see them and hear their presentation. But it's up
Yeah,
to the
I hear
council.
you, but I don't want to change midstream. I think that we've done it in the past, and those residents are expecting it. If we want to change it, which I think is up to council as to, how we want, we just don't want to, we love seeing you. We love seeing you here. We love you standing up and talking to us. I would prefer that you be here and give us your comments in person. But some people, we start at 5, some people can't get here. There's some logistic issues. We only meet once a month. So rather than stop it tonight, can we say that that's something we have to look at in the future and decide as a council? This is one of those tradition things that, I want to make sure that we actually decide to do this rather than just, let's just stop it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I'm ready to read, so it's,
How are you going to have everybody sends an email to us?
Well, this is specifically to be read at the council meeting. It's to the mayor, staff, and city council. Specifically, it says in their email, we're just not reading random emails. Trust me, we get a lot of emails. But these two were in particular, we cannot be at the meeting. So I think you're right. We need to decide as a council how we want to maintain decorum at our council meetings by how do we handle this in the future. I'm just hesitant to all of a sudden say no, and then we discuss it later and we say yes, or maybe not. I don't know what we're going to do, but I'd just rather not make a precipitous decision when we've had that tradition in our city. That's all but I'm only one, so I don't have.
You're getting it, if it's given to you ahead of time, you're getting it in your packet, you're getting the information.
It wasn't in the packet, it was emailed.
Well, what I'm saying is that if you get it ahead of time, it's in your packet, you're getting the information.
No, not those, but NIDA, I did send them to NIDA. We need to say to the residents, it needs to be 4 business days in advance for council. Maybe this is the rule, 4 business days in advance to cover it, and then it gets in the packet. But right now, that's not how we've done it. That's my concern.
I personally think it's, not a decision to be made tonight. We're not gonna read it, because they sent it in, obviously, because it has been done that way in the past. I think this is something we need to bring up next month on a workshop. We can discuss this, see how we wanna move forward. As far as
Fair enough.
Anybody else? Sam? Oh, okay.
Well, there's a third, so not that that's an official vote because it's not on the agenda. I did lean over here and discuss with the city manager. I don't remember, Dorothy may have referenced the governance model and making sure that something like this is in there as far as the procedures moving forward. So what we will do in the interim, I have 2. I will go ahead and read these. First one is from Jojo Guzman. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. I care deeply about the city and know many residents do as well. I want to acknowledge that in my opinion, the Mayor and Council have demonstrated servant leadership by listening, engaging, and working in the community's best interests. As the city's top appointed leadership position approaches contract review, the same commitment to servant leadership must be expected in this role through active engagement with the council, the mayor, staff, and more importantly, the residents. Servant leadership means serving first, listening, showing respect, being accountable, building trust, being honest, and being visible and approachable. It's not about titles or reports, it's about putting the community first. Unfortunately, many residents have seen that the administration's engagement with residents, council, and even staff has too often fallen short of these values. Open records requests have not consistently been handled fully or promptly, and interactions during meetings have at times appeared dismissive or disrespectful toward council members and even residents. Leadership is not measured by paperwork and audits alone. It's measured by integrity, communication, and how people are treated. True leaders serve the community. They don't separate themselves from it. As the council considers renewing the top appointed position, it is critical to set clean and enforceable expectations. The role must embody true servant leadership, rebuilding trust, improving communication, and ensuring collaboration among the mayor, staff, council, and residents. The collaboration cannot be optional. It must be a daily standard. Morgan's Point Resort deserves leadership that is visible, approachable, accountable, and genuinely committed to serving people, not positions. Our community has worked hard to build trust, pride, and cooperation. Renewing a contract without firm expectations and accountability risks undoing that progress. Morgan's Point Resort deserves leadership that is visible, approachable, accountable, and genuinely committed to serving its people. At least 35% of this position's job description emphasizes servant leadership, and for a good reason. Our community was built on trust, pride, and cooperation rooted in servant leadership. Renewing a contract without firm expectations and accountability risks undermining that progress. Council has both the opportunity and the responsibility to ensure that appointed leaders are not merely administrators of audits, but true practitioners of servant leadership who communicate effectively and serve with integrity.
That was less than 3 minutes. Right. Good job.
I'm trying to remember to breathe. Okay, this one is Tammy Day, 28 Sherwood Drive. Let's see, City Council, NPR, Council Mail, that's us. This document outlines key citizen concerns and highlights the importance of fostering a positive community culture within our city. The City Council is urged to gain a clear understanding of the challenges faced by our residents and proposes avenues for collaboration to enhance the overall well-being and cohesion of our community. Number one, safety of our aging population. Citizens are not aware of existing programs in NPR for medically vulnerable populations, such as the STEER program with the fire department or the Are You OK program. A social media campaign is needed to inform residents on how to register and what these programs entail. This became a concern for residents during recent storms, particularly for those on durable medical equipment. Number two, dog safety. I've attended several council meetings where issues with dog safety were discussed, but ideas were never fully implemented. This remains a significant concern for our aging population. Incidents over the years could have been avoided. I'm dying up here.
Take a drink of water.
Somebody want to finish this for me? I'm gonna hand this off.
Dennis. Bruce.
Good reader.
Bruce.
We're on dog safety.
We're on dog safety. Oh, dear. I've attended several council meetings where issues with dog safety were discussed, but ideas were never, oh, you already read all that. A social media campaign reminding residents about leash laws, fence safety, and dog accountability is recommended. Ensuring residents' voices are heard. Is the process for submitting concerns to council being effectively communicated? There is no clear dissemination of information on how residents can accomplish this. How are we ensuring our homebound, hearing impaired, visually impaired have a voice? Some residents may need assistance, and information on how to obtain this assistance, closed captioning, links to attend meetings via live video streaming is lacking. The community yard sale is an important event, an important example of the need for communication. How is the community organizer who volunteered her time continuing to create an event residents look forward to, as evidenced by over 50 homes participating? How was the policy not shared? How did the organizer not know about the state law and that was going to be enforced? Why has the CM and admin not supported an event that matters to the residents of Morgan's Point? Is this the reason why our volunteers have resigned? We continue to convey, and it appears to continue to be unheard. The aforementioned points require a creative and unique approach to NPR community culture, embracing the challenges necessary to adapt our current service delivery methods to meet the needs of all residents. Some suggestions to accomplish goals conducive to community culture are: there are three powerful and interconnected concepts, especially in leadership, public service, and organizational settings. Here's a clear overview of how each of them and how they connect. Community engagement is the process of working collaboratively with community members to address issues that impact their well-being. It emphasizes inclusion, participation, and shared decision-making. Key concepts include co-creating solutions rather than imposing them, encouraging participation, improve social media information dissemination, and empowering community voices inclusively and with collaboration with residents. Next, transparency. Transparency means openness, honesty, and accountability in actions, decisions, and communications. It builds credibility and trust between leaders and those they serve. Admitting mistakes and correcting them. Transparency builds credibility and trust through openness, honesty, and accountability in actions, decisions, and communications. This requires open communication, proactively sharing information, admitting and correcting mistakes, and clear reporting to ensure accountability. Servant leadership prioritizes serving others, focusing on team, community growth, and well-being over personal interests. Servant leadership promotes transparency through trust and honesty. Transparency strengthens community. Time's up? Oh, okay, I'm almost done. Transparency strengthens community engagement by encouraging open participation. Engaged communities allow servant leaders to respond effectively to real needs. Key characteristics: empathy and listening, stewardship and accountability, commitment to growth, community building, and collaboration. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Okay, and I've got Jojo, I got yours read in before you got here. No, you're okay. That's why I handed it off. I was out of breath. I got my breath. I drank some water, so back on track. Okay, so next on the agenda is the consent agenda. However, the minutes are listed separately, so we don't really have anything for the consent agenda. So we will move down directly to the minutes. And we will start with 25021 minutes for the special session for council on August 25, 2025.
I can do that real quick. Let me see. On the 25th, the only change to those minutes were in the call to order section. The assistant city manager was there in the city manager's presence. Let me just do these real quick. On the 4th, the only change was 2 residents' comments, just needed a little bit of clarification because they weren't reading correctly, and that's it. On the 9th, the call to order needs to include council that were there. Bishop was absent, city manager was there. Nancy did not give her address, and MN 25021, it was left off that the motion was made, but it was seconded by Allen and voted on. It was voted yay by Stryker and Leonhardt, and I put the video reference number so you could see that. And then under city manager, the only change there was to add critical in front of infrastructure projects. So with those adjustments, I would like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the special sessions on August 25th and September 4th, and the minutes of the regular session on September 9th with all the adjustments I just said.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so the minutes 25, 21, 22, and 23 with the changes. Dorothy, just make sure that those changes get forwarded up if they
Already
have not
given
already.
them to NIDA.
Great, thank you. Okay, just for the record and for reference, minutes 25, 24, and 25 still need some adjustments, although they're listed on here. So what we are going to do without objection from council is table those minutes until the adjustments and corrections can be made. Any issues? Okay. All right, moving on, going in order on the agenda, the first thing up was ordinance, discuss and consider Chapter 3, building regulations. This came up briefly during the workshop. For those that were not here, there's much discussion to be had on that, so we bypassed that in the workshop. We'll revisit it. Council, if there's no objection, what I would like to do is table the consideration for the ordinance. Dennis, do you have anything you want to add on that?
No,
Before we
sir.
do that? Okay.
Okay,
Council,
I will make
go
a
ahead.
motion that we table the discussion and consideration of Chapter 3 building ordinances, but change the ordinance number. OR 19 has already been used, so I think it's going to be OR 25-020. And so we will discuss that as we go back into workshop. And what I heard from Dennis is we're not going to make a decision tonight anyway, so that it can go back into workshop without a decision being made. Yes. Right, okay. Any, got a second?
Anyway, hush. So Dorothy with a motion to table and the corrections, can I get a second? Roxanne, was that a second? Okay, that was a second, Roxanne. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? I'm assuming that was for the initial aye, not nay. She's got jet lag, so we're going to go 5-0 on that one to table.
Jet lag.
Okay, moving on, resolution 033, discuss, consider memorandum resolution, authorize city manager to execute a contract for marina maintenance and repairs in the amount not to exceed $100,000 as per local government code 252.021. Again, was discussed in the workshop. Dennis, would you like to bring anything up before we push that out?
I think I just lost mine. Here we go. Yes, it is the repairs to the marina that need to be taken care of. There was a change in the law. Usually it's 50,000, has to be competitive bid. That's been changed to 100,000. under the local government code 252021. So it does meet that, but it still needs to come to council for approval because it's over 50,000. And Ronnie talked about it earlier, that there's been 4 different vendors looked at it and not coming on site to actually review the project to various reasons. One of them we had a contract with. If this is going to come back on. And that one that we had a contract with actually backed out. They basically never showed up. So we're down to one vendor that came forward to said they can do the work. And this contract approved by council will resolve a lot of the main issues from the walkway to checking under the marina itself to make sure it's safe in various ways. So we recommend approval.
Okay, council, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 25033 for the, okay, can I get a second? Bruce beat you to it. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Let's wait on Roxanne. Any opposed?
And that will come back to us in November as a budget adjustment. This is just approving the city manager to enter into a contract, but it wasn't budgeted, so we'll have to approve that it be budgeted and taken out of fund balance,
Yes.
which the fund balance is adequate enough for this.
And it's not going against the way we approached or you adopted the budget. It's not a CIP technically. It's a bunch of little projects that added up that cost. So we're still holding true to that aspect of it as well. Let me pull that down for you.
Thank you.
Right, it's not a $100,000 or greater project.
And we did get insurance proceeds, 118,000 that was recognized in '25. So that would be the reason it would come out of fund balance. It's because the revenue was already reflected last year.
Mayor, just one more thing. For
Yes, sir.
the citizens who weren't at the workshop that are here now, could we just get a quick rundown of what repairs they are?
Ronnie, can you come up here and give us a quick rundown so those who are not at the workshop can hear what's being done with this work product? The scope of work?
You're gonna have to borrow, okay, never mind. We got a microphone coming to you.
High water ramp and
The high water ramp, we have some bent frames, some rails that are bent, handrails, concrete on concrete you walk on. The concrete you walk on needs to be redone. I got hit on those last year, and that's something that we'll probably be looking at redoing a little each year. Anything else?
Some of this was tornado-related damage or storm damage that we're repairing, is that correct?
No, we've already had, we did that part before. This just it's waves and stuff now, and 25 years old, it's taking a beating. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I got Sam with a motion. Bruce, did we already vote on that one? I lost my place.
yes.
We did 5-0, yes?
Sam and Bruce. Okay.
Sam and Bruce?
Yep.
No, go ahead. I'm getting my notes here. Sorry. Okay, and it was 5-0. All those in favor, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. There are, just for clarity, full disclosure, there's a couple typos tonight I'll get with you. They don't affect the nature of the document at all, so no big deal. I'll take care of those offline. Okay, resolution 034, discuss and consider November city council meeting date. This was discussed in the workshop as well. City council meeting falls next month, November, on Veterans Day, which is the 11th. And we discussed moving our regularly scheduled council meetings to the 12th. Dennis, any comment? I'm going to go with no on that. So, council, for
I
good
make
with
a motion to move our November council meeting date from Veterans Day, November 11th, to November 12th, same time and place.
Can I get a second? Okay, Stephen with the second. Council, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? And any opposed? Okay, that's passed 5-0. Resolution 035, discuss, consider P&Z recommendation variance at 6 North Robin. So Dorothy, I understand you have a couple things, so what we'll do is I will take a motion from you, I'll get a second, and then we can discuss.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we discuss both of those variances and recommendations from P&Z.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
For discussion, yeah.
Okay, Dorothy, go ahead.
Did you want to say something first, Ken?
I don't have to. I'll be here for any questions. That's fine.
Okay.
I can kind of summarize our summary report. That'll work.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Okay, on the storage building on 6 North, in our workshop discussion, we have agreed that being able to place a storage building on the property line was appropriate. The summary of where we went with this was if they would actually add an additional lot to the one she currently has, then with that replat, that would allow her, due to our 5% regulation of lot size, to be able to place that additional storage building that she wants on that lot on that property after it's been replatted. So I think in our discussion, we decided that if we would get back with her, let her know that she needs to do the replat. Once the replat's done, if it will come back to City Hall, probably to Mike, and know that we've completed the replat, then there's really no variance that we have to give.
Other than the easement variant.
Or the easement variance, yeah.
Now, this is going to be sent back to P&Z and then probably brought forth at the November meeting. And at that point, we're making a preliminary decision right now.
Right.
So
Yes.
we can tell the resident that we've
Yes.
discussed it and this is the council feedback.
Correct.
P&Z.
As long as they complete that replat, get it back to us, then we'll be able to bring it back, so everything will be in place. She will not be in violation of the 5% rule, but we will have a variance on putting it on the property line, because in our ordinance itself, it indicates that she should be 3 feet back from the rear property. Her other storage building is actually on the property line and had evidently been approved at a previous council meeting. So we were going to give her that particular variance. Sure. Okay, here we go. Before I go any further, I'm derelict in my duties of introducing someone that we now have in our Planning and Zoning Committee. SITCOG has supplied us with 2 very good regional planners. One is David Rodriguez, and the second one is Ashlyn Uchek. Did I get that right? Okay, Ashlyn, you want to stand up? She and David have been coming to our planning and zoning meetings pretty consistently. They've given us some good guidance on things that other cities are doing in our area. Also things that we have fed back to them that we need more information on. They've been able to bring that to us and kind of helping us guidance-wise on a going forward basis. So Ashlyn has been there and David's been there as well. So we have 2 at this point instead of 1, which we had before with Sam. So that gives us some leeway. Thank you, Ashlyn. Appreciate it.
Okay, do you want to, since we got you up there, do you want to cover the highlights of 18 Mustang, and then we'll revisit the formalities for both Resolution 35 and 36?
Absolutely. Yeah, on the 18 Mustang, this is where we had the public hearing. After the public hearing, we did full discussion of the clarifications on the committee recommendations. Moving this request forward, P&Z would like to place the condition of completion of the project within 18 months after the decision of the city council. If that time needs to be extended, the resident will need to come back to City Hall for an extension. So he has already replatted 3 lots into 1. He's got his single-family residential plan in place. He is going to be removing his old mobile home, and he will have a travel trailer on his lot to act as a construction trailer while he goes through the demolition and then the rebuild of his new home. And then with that being the case, we really were going to add to the resolution the 18 months time frame for them to be able to go from approval to completion of their project.
Okay, thank you, sir. Council, go back to Resolution 035, which is the 6 North Robin. So if I'm hearing correctly, I'm looking for a motion to table that resolution until such time as the property owner can show that the properties have been combined. Is that correct? Does that sound right?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table that, RS 05 until proper documentation has been supplied to P and Z.
Okay, can I get a second?
A second.
Oh, Roxanne.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that one passes 5-0. Resolution 036, if I'm hearing correctly, is just the addition of an 18-month time frame to the resolution. Sound correct?
And it says in there that council held a public hearing tonight, which we did not. The public hearing was held at the P and Z meeting on September 30th. So I think it's appropriate to put that there was even though P and Z has it in their records, I don't know that we have to put it in our resolution, but we can put it in our resolution that they did hold a public hearing and that no one came and there were no objections. So those 2 things, I'd like to make a motion that we accept 25036 with those 2 adjustments.
Okay, can I get a second, please? Stephen on that, and any additional discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 5-0 on 36 as well. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. That completes all the resolutions and ordinances. Financial update.
Good evening, Mayor, City Manager, Council, and residents here and at home. What I have briefly is, of course, our bank statement financials of where we are right now. I did give you a copy of the expenditure report for October for starting this fiscal year. And then you have a brief update as far as the PowerPoint on where we are right now with the current audit. You approved or accepted the 22-23, so there's still some updates to totally close out that audit fiscal year on the budget side that is being worked on. Those hopefully should be done by the next time we meet in November. The audit was submitted to the Office of the Governor and is currently being uploaded. Well, it's been submitted to the Federal Clearinghouse, but there's some adjustments that need to be made. So that should be completed. We started the 23-24. Last time we met, we did have a lot of documents and reports that we had already done. Those have already been uploaded to the shared folder. There's still more that needs to get done. We're still waiting on some documentation, requests and reports, but hopefully we'll have 23-24 hopefully done by December. That is our goal. So that's our target, is 23-24 by December. And yes, Merry Christmas. And then, as you know, we have to have the 24-25 done in order for us not to move down to the no revenue rate for the upcoming fiscal year. So we've already begun, and I want to thank those of you that have already sent your questionnaires in for 24-25. So we are simultaneously adding, and we've already sent out the confirmation letters to the banks and things that we need to do, not only for 23, 24, but also for 24, 25. So we're kind of doing both as we move along, but our priority, of course, is to finish 23, 24 as we're going through and doing the reports collection-wise for 24, 25. So that's pretty much on the audit update that I was asked to give. I think there was another page on there. Let me see. The last update that I have for you is you should be getting budget amendments for carryover purchase order and expenditures from the prior year 24-25 that are going to be moving to 25-26. We have some expenditures that need to get moved that we have not received or that we received this week in October that we need to move over to 25-26. We also received some expenditures, or excuse me, some revenue, some grant revenues that we received that also need to get moved into 24-25, and if we get anything coming in, which may be TIFMAS, we'll be putting that into 25-26. So you will be seeing some budget amendments coming, and I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up that it's moving some items from 24-25 into 25-26, so that you just know it's coming, like giving y'all a heads up. Any questions?
I have a question, and it's an accounting question. So we budgeted for it in 24, 25,
Yes.
and we obviously procured whatever the item was, so we incurred a liability in 24, 25, yet the cash payment didn't hit till October. Why wouldn't you set up an accounts payable at the end of 9/30/25 and go ahead and include it in the year that it's budgeted, and then we don't need any carryover?
Well, there's two ways, is when we receive it, because if we received it, and some of the items we still not have received, so we're, like, I think the pool cover came in, I think on Friday, I don't know which one, the other half of the pool cover, or the pool
We
covers came in.
committed to it. It was like in transit. I mean, I'd rather not have to deal with putting prior year expenses in the current year and taking it out of fund balance. I'd rather see each year stand alone, but if it can't be done, it can't be
Yeah.
done. Okay.
Yeah,
But for clarity, that the budget carry forward that was in, that's a budget carry forward we're talking here,
Yes.
right? So it's not using fund balance, it's just moving what was in the current, in fiscal year 24 over to 25 over to 26. Just like we're going to do with the parks, just like we're going to do with,
So you're going to change our budget as well.
it will be
as
a budget
actual.
amendment, yes. You'll recognize that revenue and it will adjust the 25
So it'll be
budget as well.
pulled out of last year's budget.
Yes, just like the park money we were talking about
So
during the
we'll
budget
need to see
process.
both years side by side.
You will.
Because that's the other thing I was going to ask was, this is October 31, but we haven't received 9/30. We haven't received the year-end reports yet.
yeah, well, yes, that is correct, because we still have, some adjustments to make.
I really want to see that one.
Okay,
And I might add something on that. There's the ground storage tank. We've talked to the auditors. A lot of that money needs to be pushed back to the prior fiscal year, and they're aware of it. They've agreed to assist the city in making that happen. So that's several expenditures that have to be moved back to the prior year. That's one of the reasons
You say
why,
prior year, are you now saying
23,
20?
24.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I don't recommend, and you all have already concurred and approved it as such, not to do any major capital outlay until we get a good read from the auditors, because it's just, when you start moving money back and forth, what we thought we had is not what we have.
That's what's
and-
concerning me.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is. So I agree with you, and I think this will give us better clarity, but it does need to be moved back in the period it belongs. And that's where the auditors agree with
Yeah.
us, and we're making that
yeah,
happen.
and we've had meetings with them. We met with them last week, so I meet with them pretty much on a weekly basis, especially trying to clear out 22, 23, and then I was explaining to them what the issue that we had with the ground storage tank, which was part of the single audit. And so they're aware of things that need to get moved into the correct fiscal year, especially since we're starting 23, 24, and we're starting to clear out 24, 25, and now we're moving into 25, 26. So it is, right now, I know that it's not been easy, and I always worry, because I told y'all it's going to take time. So 23, 24, the goal is December. I think that's pretty doable. But it's also, there is cleanup on aisle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, there's still cleanup that needs to take place between 23, 24, 24, 25, and then now, because we do have a lot of items that we still have not received, that may be on back order, that they're on, I think one of them is armor, right? We have a couple of things from police, yeah, firearms. We can't just cancel them, we need to wait for them. And so when that comes in, that's going to be something, and we're hoping it comes in by the end of this month. So the department heads, the directors have been phenomenal. They know which purchase orders we're still pending for them to receive so that we can move them into the correct fiscal year.
Yeah, and we can talk offline, but my concern is if it was budgeted for, I'm just going to say 25 so I don't get my tongue tied. If it was budgeted for in 25, but we didn't spend it, and you're moving that budget of that expense into 26, in 25, it had revenue to offset it because we had a balanced
Correct.
budget.
Yes, you're correct.
When you move it into 26, you're throwing the 26 budget significantly more expenditures than revenues, because the revenues to cover those
No,
expenditures.
the revenue and the expenditures will move together, ma'am, I'm sorry.
What revenue are you going to?
Well, because the revenue was allocated for that. So we'll follow the lead of whatever the auditors tell us to do based on.
You can't move property taxes. I mean, if
Oh, no.
you were going to use property taxes to cover armor and ammunition, you're not going to move that revenue. Now, if it's a grant, I could easily see you moving the revenue with the expenses. But in the normal course of business, we have expenses that are covered by our property taxes. So those property taxes are still in 25, but yet you're moving the expenses to 26. It's just a comment.
Okay,
Wait and see what we come up with and see how it impacts us. But that's my concern. Okay.
okay.
And then do you have any inkling? And I'll take draft stamped all over it. I will take never been reviewed by a human being, from the system only, but can we get a year-end report?
You can get one, but it's not going to be accurate.
I
I can just give you what's in the
know that.
system with the caveat that it's not.
What are you
Well,
asking
we're
for?
getting October's report, and I want September 30th.
The year-end closeout is what she's working on right now.
Yeah.
No,
Well, I know, but we don't have it, we don't have it either. So we got,
Preliminary.
we don't have the numbers yet. It would just literally be bad information because you have budget amendments she's talking about that has to be moved. That's one. There's fiscal year closeout to reconcile everything from within the purchase itself to the bank reconciliations, what have you. That all has to be done. Usually cities get about 45 days by the time they do the fiscal, depends on
I'm
the
not
city.
pushing timing. I'm just
Well,
wanting
I
to
don't
see
want to
what I
send
can
bad
get.
information either.
I
So
understand
it's give the fiscal year closeout that should have been done on every year prior
I
was
understand.
never done. So this one here, she's actually trying to get a fiscal year closeout and we'll bring that. It's just, we just started to do fiscal year. Give it time and I guarantee you'll get the fiscal year closeout. It's just not something
I
that's
don't need
done
a
quickly.
formal closeout. It can be stamped anything, and if we can have something by the November meeting.
Preliminary closeouts are, the preliminary numbers are pretty much passed. We need to officially close out the budget for fiscal year 25.
So you can't release preliminary year-end numbers.
We don't have it done yet. So it would give you something that doesn't even really make any sense because there's other things in the pipeline that has to be done. She knows about it. We're tracking it. We're working with the auditors. That stuff is certainly in progress, but it just ended the fiscal year, what is it, 2 weeks ago?
Today.
Well, I know, but I mean, the staff will stop doing that to go take care of this other. I'd rather see us get the fiscal year closeout done like it should have been done in previous years. It hasn't. So I'd ask that you just be patient in that sense, council, and hopefully we can get this to you as fast as we possibly can.
I can promise that after we finish these two audits, the 23-24 and the 24-25, and everything that the staff has been doing, the directors using the procurement module, you will have accurate data. I promise you that. I mean, there's no way that as you know, I look at all of the accounts. There still are some tweakings that need to get done with the accounting software that we use, the financial software that we use. But it is a process. It's not a very easy process. It is a frustrating process. And so, but hats off again to the directors, because this year for 25-26, by the end of this year, after we're on track, 25-26 audits and those reports are going to be correct, 99.9999% correct. That I can tell you. I just can't, it's a lot. So please be patient because it is getting there. We're almost, I was telling someone, well, when you got here, I felt like a straw, that I was breathing through a straw. Then I could see above the water. Then my nose was above water. Right now, my neck, I'm above the water with the neck. And so by December, I'll be by the waist. The water will be waistline. So I go by, that's how I measure the amount of work.
I certainly don't want to put any more pressure on you than you're putting on yourself. Trust me, I know. But I would like to see the year end.
I know, and I wish we could give it to you, right? But I can tell you that everything the directors have done this year, although it was kind of stressful on everybody, to start in May. Think about it. We started a lot of stuff in May. And thanks to them, because they're the ones that helped with this, get this information into the system, even though the account codes are not necessarily correct. The expenditures are correct. And so there is cleanup and moving certain expenditures to the wrong account codes. So is everything documented in the software? Yes. Is it documented probably where it should be? No. But I can tell you 25, 26 will be. And that's going to make this year, for the closeout for 25, 26, should put the city back on track.
It will also help the budget process. We'll know right when we give you those revenue expense reports that we're solid, that those are true numbers and not just something that's been converted from one year to the next. And we're just hoping for the best. You'll have a lot of good information, I think, moving forward. 2 audits in this new fiscal year with all the accounts getting lined up where they should be. I think it's going to make all the difference in the world, especially for you, Dorothy, because I know that you're very interested in the financial side of the house, the audits and what have you. But it's just
Also the results of our operations.
exactly
How we do
exactly
relative to
agree.
budget.
Agree.
I mean,
Agree.
Audits, I think you guys are, you've done Herculean efforts on the audits, and I'm so excited we are where we are. And I want to thank everybody also. But I do want to know, where are we relative to budget for
Right.
last year?
Well, exactly. And the other side of it is the internal controls have been tightened up to try to streamline so that it doesn't go back to this kind of situation. Put it that way.
All right, sorry, thank you.
That's fine.
One last thing that I did want to say is that the directors, with everything that they've been putting into the software, again, I just want to make this, put this pretty good. We're on a very good roll with the way everything is being tracked in the system. But I do want to let you all know we are still getting bills from previous years. And so that is something that it is out of our control. So I am going to brainstorm with the city manager, maybe come up with a count code that is just for past year's expenses, instead of maybe coding them to the right code, so that we know out of this fiscal year which are those expenses that are from prior years moving forward. Because we did pay a couple of bills that were from prior years that came in last month. And so if that continues to happen, I think the best course is to come up with a code, so that way we know specifically, just put that code in. If we need to put more money, instead of putting it in finance over here to cover, I'd rather just create an expense account for past year's expenses, so that we know in 25, 26, that would be the account number for past due bills. Yes,
Right, me too.
yes,
Me too. Did
yeah,
I send you a bill? Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I contacted the vendor, yeah. Believe me, I've tried. I mean, even like for one of the IRS bills, we paid what they told us to pay, and we did exactly, and then we called, and since last week, we've been on hold, and you try to get a hold of the IRS with a shutdown, you're talking about 2.5 hour wait. And then they disconnected, and so we've been on the phone again, and so that today, I was like, okay, I hear, nope, I gotta run. Because there was a situation where one of the forms, the actual IRS forms, was not submitted to the IRS. And so we were incurring a penalty. We paid it, but the form wasn't there. And so it's those little things that we have to keep checking to make sure that when we get a bill, it is what it is, right?
They waived the penalty.
On one of them, all the way down to $1,700, and the other one we're pending. They need to review it, so.
Well, thank you for everything you're doing.
Well, thank you all, and please be patient. I know, trust me, I would love to give you everything knowing that it's accurate. I just can't right now. And I also did want to thank, we have a volunteer who's been coming in, which she's right here, helping us with the audit, with the minutes, going through some of the stuff for the audits for 23, 24. As she knows, it was not an easy task. Everything is, it's been unique. It's a scavenger hunt. It is fun at times, and it can be frustrating. But I do want to thank Donna for coming in and helping us, because right now that's one of the things that we sometimes need. We do need help. So thank you very much. Thank you, Donna.
All right, thank you, ma'am. City manager update.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, City Council. I also like to thank Les. He's been helping out in the City Secretary's office. He's doing a stellar job, so we really appreciate his help. I'm going to start off with you, Nida. Just take about a minute or two to explain, get this stuff moving, go through. And now that's all the development that's going on in this area, all the water rights for the most minute faster. There's going to be to clear the brush for all the ordinances looked at, because there's a lot of tweaking that needs to be done. Honestly,
Yeah,
I think
I
it would
know.
help a lot of people.
I know.
Someone mentioned the signs. The good example, there can be a permission of the city manager, for example, on behalf of the city council. This stuff will come up in the governance model where you're
No,
going to
I'm
have other
just talking
discussions.
about on.
I'm just talking about all
debris.
ordinances, though.
All ordinances, absolutely.
And
but I'm
this is
just
one of
talking
them.
about the debris. He has.
He has
what
already
needs.
moved forward, yes.
Okay, super.
He has moved forward with it, and we are seeing some people comply. Some people haven't, and if they don't, we'll take those next steps. On the debris issue, there is some equipment that BJ still needs, and we do need to get it as a recommendation. It's a recommendation that you all do acquire the equipment. It's that excavator with a thumb where it can reach in and grab it. It's on tires, so it moves much faster. Doesn't have to be towed anywhere. It's smaller than what we looked at first time, but BJ would still like to have it. It would pick up our debris faster, and it's one more piece of equipment. I've reached out to VFA, and I have talked to the mayor, and just to explore some possibilities, and using the same approach we did for the mini pumper, if you remember how that worked. 2 installments, $75,000. The next payment, she should be sending it out, I think, in the next week or so. It should be received by the VFA, and we appreciate what they've done because it made all the difference for mitigating fire threats. At least you've got a way to respond, and you may not have a full crew, but they can get there and start dumping water quickly. Well, the same kind of approach that we use for the fire, and it's still fire related, if you will, but if council doesn't have any objections, I'd like to explore it further. The initial indication, as I understand it, is that would be something they would consider. But I'd like to know if there's a consensus from council, 3 of you, that said, yes, go ahead and explore it further. I don't want to waste their time or our time if you're not, but if we could get an excavator with a small thumb that can pick up stuff and move faster, as BJ suggests, I think it will, just like this chipper, it makes all the difference in the world. Things go much faster. If there's
How much is it?
Well, I asked him he said the one he found was 200,000. I asked him to keep looking, and he's trying to get some estimates for us. So I don't have a price for you tonight, but I do want, you'll come back and hear it again. This is just something I just need to know whether you're all inclined to, if we can find a way to do it in that manner, to where we can get it and pay it back in installments to the VFA, then I think that'd be a good approach. But I want to see what council, if you all had any objections to it.
I just have an overall question on the debris cleanup. So we've done different things. We've, put an employee in place, and they're working with the other departments, and we're buying some equipment. Can we get an overall plan on the debris cleanup? And that way, like, is this the last piece of equipment that we are going to need? Don't answer that because it's rhetorical. Or is this the 5th piece of equipment we're going to need? So I'd like to see a big picture.
Right.
I have zero problem if the VFA is willing to work with us.
Can I share a conversation that I had with the mayor and the city manager on email? I asked at the next meeting in November that we have a presentation by the fire department, tell us what their findings are, what their recommendations are, and where we stand. and the mayor graciously agreed to put it on the agenda.
Yeah, and a step further, what do you think it's going to take, even if we can't afford something till 27? You know, but, you know, we're making progress and we have to make progress. I mean, it's just like, you don't have a choice.
No, you don't. Yeah,
So,
it's
but
not,
it would be nice to know instead of just, well, we need this and then we need this and then.
I agree.
hey, we need that.
There's only a few more pieces that
Okay,
we're
that's
trying to
my
put
question.
together, and I've had discussions, but I don't have the definitive answer to those questions. Once I get those, we'll give you everything in their one nutshell. But it's really, it's like you said, we don't have a choice. I mean, it's not worth the risk of putting life and property at risk like that. And it's not anyone's fault. It's just, and it's not something you're ever going to do away with. That's why the equipment, when BJ went looking, I said, look for new equipment. And God forbid we ever sell this stuff. But the whole idea behind it is do it right up front, maintain it, because this will be something you'll be
This is
doing for,
ongoing.
oh yeah, for decades. It won't change,
Right.
most likely. But anyway, so is there anybody that does not want us to explore the VFA option? And I know for well, we'll bring back something for you.
I'm in favor. I just want to comment. Oops, is this still working? I haven't been involved in the council until this year, but I have an impression that these easements were designed for public use, for the pleasure of the citizens, and maybe to support the wildlife. And they're clogged with debris. And it's so many other things like this have occurred. There's been no maintenance. And it's been, how long has this city been here? And these easements have been here 50 years. I don't know.
Ideally, I mean, it's a suggestion to consider down the road, maybe look at, do you really need those easements? Or could you find a way to transfer that to the property owner
Well, here's,
in time?
I have had 2 requests from constituents to discuss with the city government whether they could buy their adjacent easements.
I think as long as,
It's also a fire break.
yeah, it is.
I'd want the fire
Exactly.
department to weigh in on
Yeah.
that. So if it's maintained, it can be a fire break. If one house goes up, it'll save another house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that it's certainly the parks and green easements are good examples of miniature, well, fire break for sure, for the green easement. But it is a discussion the council should have because it gets it on the tax roll, it gets it away from city maintenance. But there's also a method of madness that you got to make sure when you dedicate that land, you do it in a way that doesn't take you got to start more in the middle and work your way out than to work your way out and try to make it work your way in. Otherwise, we wouldn't have access to some of that property.
Well, and there needs to be a careful plan
Yes.
because there are easements, like the one behind my property, there's nobody on the other side of it, it's the lake.
Yeah.
So that one could disappear. But if there's one that's important for a fire break, that needs to be retained, obviously.
And I don't know the legal side of it. You maybe, Neil might have.
He's getting ready to speak.
You need to remember that these easements were all shown on the dedicated plats. They were easements that were dedicated to the use of the public. I remember it was Terramar, Great Southwest, but they conveyed those easement greens to the city, but they came subject to the public's right to use those easements. So, if you sell it, I mean, you own the property, you could, in theory, sell it to an adjoining property owner, but you can't do away with the public's right to be able to have passageway and to use those green easements.
So not doable?
It's in our original plats. I know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, could it not be, the nature of the easement could change, perhaps?
You can't change from a public easement.
No, it could be a public easement, but the ownership changes. Is that possible?
So you want people coming across your backyard because they have access to your easement?
Well, there might be people that would be okay with that.
Sounds like a quagmire.
I don't know.
Well, maybe it would have to go up for vote, but
It's a-
that's beyond this meeting.
Yeah.
So, but it's a really good point, and we're always looking for opportunities, so.
So anyway, that's, I guess, the green light is for at least to go ahead and start having some discussions in order to bring something back for council to consider. But I do think that's going to really pick up our ability, not only to work in the easements, but also in just picking up the debris that has to be collected and taken to the pit. So I think it's a great idea, and we'll start exploring that and see what we can bring back to council. The next thing is, you all have talked about and agreed to in the past, that, from my understanding, as to have a governance model approach to governing the city. And I'd like to go ahead and make sure that, well, one, I'd like to go ahead and start working with you all on that. But my question is, I need to see if you all would entertain a special session either at the end of this calendar year, excuse me, at the end of this month, or beginning of next month, separate from the regular sessions. I need time to spend specifically on governance models. And that's basically, I'll just give you an example. There'll be governing standards and expectations that you all agree to. These are how we're going to operate this body. You had something tonight, we were talking about reading things. Well, that might be something that you build in there that you can, or build in there that you can't. Or what can be used, what city property, or excuse me, what city funds will be spent for what functions, and if they're not listed, they just don't use city fundings for it. And those kind of decisions will help guide not only my chair, but future chair, whoever sits in that chair, to make sure they are meeting your expectations. It goes beyond that, governing standards and expectations. That deals with meetings and how you all want the city to be functioning in some aspects. But it also goes into financial governance, and that's critical for staff. Where there's a standard thing. We've talked about different things that could happen, like should it be an ordinance, should it be a resolution? Should it be, when should it be done? Is it required to be done? Governing standards, it's not a charter, and it's not, the state tells you what to do. It's kind of an in-between, because you all regulate it and say, this is how we're going to move forward. And
I would like to work on that, and I was talking to Jimbo about that, right? Before we got into the budgeting process, and I started looking around for other cities to get an outline. I was just going to start with an outline of the different components that need to go into a governance model. Quite frankly, I can't find anything out there.
Yeah,
So can you give us a start?
I'll give you a
by giving
presentation.
us an outline. I don't want Colleen's. I
No,
don't want
well,
another
Colleen's
big
actually,
cities.
Colleen didn't invent it. Colleen just,
No, I know, but you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
I would like an outline, and then, so we can, start tackling it, because I agree with you. I think it's critical, and then we won't have, hopefully, as many stutter steps on things that we do. So I'm all in, and I would really like to help, but I think we need to start with the big picture of
Okay.
What is a governance model, and here are the components.
I got
How do
that.
you conduct your meeting?
yeah,
What's
well.
the role of this? What's the role of that?
Yeah. I'll give it, what I would suggest is the way we had to do it. We went down this in Killeen. I grew up in Killeen, we didn't have it. I seen it before and I saw it after. And a lot of the things, and I'll be honest with you, what the community and what the council sees now could have been avoided had we had these processes and procedures in place.
No, I'm all
Not, okay. So I think, I'd recommend we start the way we did, which was, and I wasn't the one, this is what's one of the most challenging things, is the governing standards and expectations. That's how you decide to govern yourself, and how you expect certain things to happen from the city manager's office, staff, and what have you. The financial side of the house is tailored to this community. So but it's still the same process. So I think it's going to bring a lot of stability and predictability, not only among council, but among those in the audience, and also throughout the community. They'll know exactly, they can look at the same things you're doing. And if you re-adopt them every year, that means you agree to standards that will help run the city. And it also, like I said, you don't get, Dennis gets in there and starts doing things on his own without any kind of input for council. You may find out about it, but you may find out a year or 2, 3 down the road. It shouldn't be that way. There should be lanes there for everybody to operate from, and I think it would be helpful. So
And there's an updated TML handbook that is a handbook for mayors and councilmen. And I would suggest you, if you haven't read it, Sam, pull it out, read it. It's long, it's lengthy. But it does, I think that will bring you up to speed a little bit on governance, at least according to TML. Okay, good.
So I guess my question is, are you all okay with a special session for dealing with specifically governance model? And if the answer is yes, that's the first question. And the second question is, are you okay with either the end of the month, preferred then, of October? But we need to get it because there's a lot to do.
Roxanne, you're going to TML, right? Roxanne? And what are the dates of TML?
29, 30, 31.
Okay, that probably scratches that idea. So how about, what about the first week in November? Now, a separate again from the council regular session. I don't want to I don't want people to have to, this is a discussion by itself. It's not something that we need to bring everything else in at the same time. So is the first week in November doable?
Election's on the 4th. Yeah. So,
That's a Saturday,
no, it's a Tuesday.
Tuesday? So maybe that Thursday or something perhaps, the 6th?
P and Z meets on that.
If it changes, let NIDA know, but we're going to say,
But you're meeting during the day, not at night. Would we meet at night, I guess?
yeah.
okay.
Oh, 2 to 6, what is? Oh, okay.
But
What
you'd
day
be
is that?
available after 6.
What about, well, and we can even, look. How about, that was, what day is that, this Thursday?
How about Wednesday, the
About
5th?
Wednesday. Everybody good? Roxanne, you good? The 5th of November?
Monday the 3rd,
No, the 5th.
5th, Wednesday Wednesday the 5th is fine.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Please let NIDA know if something changes. Wednesday, the 5th, and that will be earmarked for governance model. I'll do a presentation, kind of give you, kind of and I'll try to give you some
Like something
references
in
as well.
advance too, so I can start thinking, at least an outline of what we're going to be discussing.
fine.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, how about if we, again, the most important thing is to separate it from the regular meetings. So how about the second week in November, but maybe not be opposed to maybe a couple meetings as fast as we can bring them back to you with the finished product. And maybe we'll shoot for maybe November. Okay, I'll ask NIDA to send it out and see what dates work for us and you and make sure we can get it on the same sheet of music. So to scratch what I said earlier. And I think that's really all I had for tonight.
I'd just like a quick update on where we are on open positions.
We got resumes for Administrative Services Director. I haven't got them yet, but we've got, how many applicants did you get total? Okay. And then the City Secretary position, how many did we get on that one? Or how
Did
many
that get
total?
posted on TML? Did we get some hits on TML? No, city secretary. Could we get that posted on TML?
We
Get
can
a
do that.
broader audience and they know what a city secretary is.
Most of them don't know what it is.
No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know, but if it's
think
on
we-
TML,
Oh, I
most
understand.
people on TML know what a city
Yeah, I
secretary
agree with
is.
you.
Okay.
How many did we get total in that? 200? So, but yes, we can do that, but we are moving forward with them. There's a lot of feedback from these. I guess you're saying there's 5 for the administrative services position. So we'll move forward with it, but that's where we're at right now. We've got them. We can extend a little bit longer on the city secretary position. NIDA's done a good job. She's staying up with things. It's not just a city secretary position. I'm also looking for the court side of the house because we have to have it. And I don't have anybody else to do that. So, but you heard tonight where we've had a pretty good result of already things are moving. The judge and the prosecutor, you have them on board and they seem to be doing very well, very active in that sense. So we're very thankful for that.
Yeah, I'm super concerned about Mary and the workload that she has on her,
Well-
especially with that administrative position being open. I know it's all hands on deck. I know everybody's helping, but I really feel like the burden is falling on our CFO.
Well,
So, of course, and Amanda. Yes.
I'm aware, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I saw that on the website. Right.
So, yeah, I'm aware of the dynamics. It's
Yeah, I was
not,
thinking about the director positions.
I understand that, I understand that. I'm not, there's nothing that you're all saying that I'm not aware of. You may not be happy with the process, the person, or whatever, I don't know. But there's a lot to the moving of this stuff here. We had somebody picked out, we thought was going to be fine. And I think she would have been a true asset. That didn't work out. And so that we had to recalibrate and try it again. And we're at that point where we're doing it. That's one aspect of it. And then, but yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at. And I've had discussion. In fact, I asked her today where they at and get them to me so we can go ahead and start moving forward with it, independent of what you all said or not. Other than that, does anybody have any questions about any aspect of it? No? Okay, that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, council, I'm gonna go real quick around the room before we jump back into the workshop. Any final comments, Dorothy?
Well, I did have, I'm with Sam. I'm thinking what happens now that we have, the budget process behind us, and what are some things that we want on future agendas. And, I'd like to see definitely wildfire in November. And then the EDC, I think they're meeting this week to develop their 25-26 work plan and budget. I'd like to get them on a council agenda pretty quick so we can see. They've got a lot of money, and I'd like to see what they plan, what their proposals are from their board as to what they're going to do. We haven't had department quarterly reports yet. I'm assuming we're waiting for year end. Hopefully that can come up in November to have year end reports from the departments, or maybe December, but soon. And then we haven't had a report from Parks and Rec in a while. I'd like to see that. And then there's some other policy things that I don't have a priority on, but we need to address the investment policy that came up in the auditor's report. Governance policy I had on my list, and the employee handbook revisions. I want council to review and make sure we understand all the changes that were made to the employee handbook.
There's a couple things. One is last year when we got the investment policy, Public Fund Investment Act policy draft, and approved eventually through council. There are some, we sent out 3 RFQs trying to find an investment advisor. They won't touch the city until the audits are caught up, I'm sure of that. And we found one, but it wasn't someone or a company that actually has done a city before, so that wouldn't make sense. Several $1 million. And so,
We have to address it tonight.
I know, I'm just giving you
Future agenda.
those meetings set up like they're supposed to be, get the format set down where policy, and flip a switch and make it work. Same thing I did with the personnel policy. Some people like it, some people don't. I got it. And that's something that you shouldn't do. I'd rather, that's one of a few. Actually, procurement, start doing with that governance model is far removed from what you're used to doing. And the best advice I have from someone coming out inside, is get away from what's been done and start a new way of your staff and city council and to the expectations of the community. I think they would like it a lot better.
Investment policy, debris plan, employee handbook.
The pre-plan, got
Oh, and
that,
the department reports.
department reports.
Add those in.
Yeah, and that's, yeah.
Okay. So in addition to future agenda items, I'd like to see, Roxanne.
Fine, I'm not gonna stay for the rest of the.
Sam?
It's striking that's on the Potomac River. We had such a beautiful day today. I want to say that blown out windows, bad roofs, we all had trees around and took down the, gratified to see that the city manager